coming tonight. I've got two things to ask. Firstly, my house is directly opposite this development on Hatfield Road, and it's going to be stage one. It's across from stage one, and you're saying that because this subdivision has been there since 1929, you don't have to, or the council doesn't have to worry about drainage. Now, I'm on the bottom side of Hatfield Road. The water will flow into my property. So when we've got all of the roofs and all of the hard surfaces on the other side of the road, there's no drainage being put in. And I've had a look at the council's, the Neville Brown and Associates material, and that shows nothing, no dollar amount at all for drainage in stage one. So I'm a little bit surprised that that could be the case. Now, as to whether there should or shouldn't be curbing and guttering, I don't know. I don't know that I really want curbing and guttering down there, but some sort of drainage so that there's not water running into my property from this new development is a serious concern to me. That's the first point. The second point is there's a much more fundamental issue here that concerns me, that seriously concerns me, and that is you told us at the start that this is not a consultation evening, and that's understood. It's not a consultation evening. But why wasn't there consultation before this development? There is clearly written consultation policy, and that consultation policy refers you to a consultation matrix, and that consultation matrix refers to 4 different types of matters, one of which, and the most important of which, is high impact citywide. And there are a number of different things that show what high impact citywide one is, that there's potential for a high degree of controversy and conflict. And I think the number of people intervening shows that probably that potential should have been with the councillors and with the council officers before. Then the other element is high level of community interest. Well, I think that shows moving as well. And the other is that it entails significant expenditure. Now, we're talking about 1.2 million, and the figure that I've seen on the council materials is just under $2.3 million for stage 2. So we're talking about quite significant expenditure here. But your own consultation policy indicates, or our consultation policy, because we're all part of the Blue Mountains, indicates that there should be consultation. And it says in the policy that when it's high impact citywide, public exhibition is an essential element, and that essential means it must be undertaken. Yet it wasn't undertaken. Why did that happen? It seems to me that it must have been obvious to the councillors on the evening when they made this decision that this was a high impact citywide issue, particularly when the money's going down to Springhill. So we're talking about why aren't we following a consultation policy? And then there's another policy, the corporate property policy has a sales section that says that you'll only be selling where this would deliver better outcomes for the local community. That would be an obvious thing that should be looked at in dealing with your consultation. Is there a better outcome for the local community? And the local community, I'm sorry, is not actually Springwood. If you're talking local community, it can't be anything further than the Upper Blue Mountains.
So 3 points there. I'll answer 3 points 3 and 2, and then I'll throw to Alan for the first one. In terms of the benefit to the local area, there will be further consumers for Blackheath shops. There will be jobs for tradesmen, for carpenters, plumbers, concreters, in the construction of these houses. There will be local jobs as a result of this, sir. So your question about community benefit, that's my answer. There will be more, excuse me, you've asked a question, if I might answer. There will also be further sustainability for local schools as more children attend them. So we have further people wanting to be part of our community, wanting to move into this area and be part of our community, and I don't think that's particularly unreasonable. The second question, sorry, just refresh my memory. Consultation, yes, of course. You've seen up there that this council has consulted twice. In the land zone plan that was approved in 1982, it had a look at this issue, and it said this land should be used for residential housing. It revisited the issue in 1991, and again, it said clearly, and we had a public hearing with the Commissioner, who was completely impartial, hearing the issues that people had. There was input from the Conservation Society, from all local residents across the Blue Mountains, and again, the Commissioner said, this land should be used for residential. Now, so that's the consultation. When you ask about those policies, and you're right, we have those policies, that is the consultation. About those matters. And I'm now, that's the second item. I'll hand over to Alan for the first one.
While I mentioned Covent was currently designed, drainage is an essential component. So drainage will be implemented in straight line along the roads, so the private development will have a drainage line to connect into. So treatment of the water coming off the road, off Hill Road, should already have certain drainage network, and we'll be increasing that capacity.
What if we don't want
No, there is no Covent Garden in the design. However, drainage infrastructure, underground pipes, etc., will be included.
Next question, lady at the back. Okay, who wants to take that? Sorry,
I'll sit down here. Karen, the council has a property investment fund. So I mentioned earlier that the council does undertake sale of land across the city as part of its core business, land that's identified as surplus to its requirements. That fund will be used to implement stage 1 services. So it's not loans or any other funds that's identified to deliver other services. There is a reserve, a restricted assets account in council that will be used to fund it. It currently has enough in it to deliver stage 1. So the fund operates on a revolving basis, so sales go back into the fund and it's used for a range of asset development renewal purposes.
Just before I go to the next question, the land has been sold elsewhere in the Blue Mountains and has gone into the property investment fund from Lawson. We're rezoning some land in Katoomba, gone into the fund for the purposes of supporting the Springwood redevelopment. As I indicated before, where money across the city has been used for other projects.
Not a large process like this though, this is a very large development.
Why does the RFS, the fire assessment, take place sometime in June or July when this is already happening?
Yeah, nothing is really happening in the sense that the RFS would want to assess. Assessments for the development would need to be done when designs are put in.
I was more thinking of trying to get up Hat Hill Road when the fire's around, like we've done before. I have heard, no, the black line will protect us, but didn't seem the feeling when we were ready to evacuate, 6 years ago. It gets really choked sitting there in Hat Hill Road in a line of traffic that stopped at the highway and stopped at Wentworth Street trying to get on to Govertsleep Road. But anyway, just seemed an odd thing that when we listen now to the safety warnings that come on the radio that say, lives will be lost, we can't save you. This is following Victoria. But now we're going to have quite extensive development there, that many more people, and there's nothing that makes the traffic flow any better.
There's one road out. There's one road out.
A lot of us sat in that traffic up here.
Can I just say something just to help her along there? There's a lot of, as everyone knows, there's during a fire, especially where the fire front is, a lot of RFS vehicles come down to look after the houses, which is a good thing. It's got to happen. Problem is it also clogs up the roads. And so if you've got to get out of there in a hurry, it's going to be really hard. And I firefight myself, so I understand this. And I've actually been caught in situations where I couldn't get out because there's so many tankers in the way. And you can't hinge your hopes. You can't hinge your hopes on the black line. The black line is a great thing. Don't get me wrong; it's a great strategic plan, but it requires a few things. It means you've got to have time to plan it. You've got to have time and manpower to put it in, and you've got to have the right weather conditions to actually burn off that line and get a good distance in. And in catastrophic weather, you can't light up to put the black line in the first place.
And that's what I've seen.
Okay. And this land has been used in every crisis we've had recently.
The dynamics that you have mentioned are not uncommon right throughout the Blue Mountains. The point of the suburb of Winmalee, The access point to the south, one road into Springwood, Hawkesbury Road. To the north, out through Yarramundi, precisely the same. The RFS has policies to deal with evacuations. I can also tell you that we've had verbal indication from the RFS that this subdivision will meet with their approval.
Why not in writing? Why not in writing?
They will give approval in writing when designs are actually put in.
I wrote to the Chief Commissioner a week ago and he said he hadn't heard anything about it. So where did this come from? That you've had verbal... He said he was going to get on to you, but you hadn't. You've done this subdivision. You've gone ahead.
So this lady over here has been waiting. We have heard from the RFS and they've indicated verbally their approval.
Will you
yes,
put
ma'am.
that in writing?
I find that a bit surprising because I'm really concerned about the fact when we have those really nasty fires and we rely on those big Elvis helicopters waiting on that neighbour. Where are they trying to allow those helicopters to land? And many of them, not just one.
This is certainly not the only location that they can land. And if the RFS had concerns, they would have told us instead of verbally indicating that they had given their support.
Will you put that in
The
writing?
RFS, the state collaborates as well. It's not just the RFS that looks after us in a deep fire situation.
They are the primary response agency.
No, the
Sorry.
whole state.
Can I go to further questions?